Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Thanks for joining today. We have lots of fun topics. Hopefully, it's not too noisy here and you don't get too much background noise. All kinds of fun things happening in the neighborhood. They're cleaning out some sewers from all the atmospheric rivers that we've had. Um, we've had just so much rain. And yesterday, I had a pickup truck doing a 3-point turn in the middle of my lawn. Do you ever have weeks when it's just like anything that can go wrong will go wrong? Fortunately, they were very good about getting the problem rectified and fixing up the grass within a couple of hours. But yeah, that was not a pleasant surprise to see. But as I say, we do have plenty of fun topics today. So we are going to talk about a lot of travel do's and don'ts. Um, so uh, um, yeah, talking about the $20 trick in Mexico and a bunch of other stuff. So the $20 trick that I think originated in Las Vegas. I know I've done it. I've done it successfully a couple of times. And the basic concept is that when you hand over your credit card and your passport, that you slip a 20 in between them, or your ID, whatever. So that when you go to check in, of course, every resort that you ever go to asks to see identification. And you slip a 20 in there, and then hopefully you can get upgraded. Now, I've seen that some of the hotels in Las Vegas have moved to automated kiosks for your check-in and check-out. So obviously that's going to eliminate the free upgrade factor. But at certainly at Mexican resorts, this is still the case. And in fact, hello, Angelo. How is Secrets Cap Cana? Hopefully, it's as beautiful as I remember it being. I haven't been there since 2019. It's been a while. Not the easiest destination for me to get to, but yeah. Um, oh, yeah. Yeah, saying the same thing for Vegas, but doesn't think that that works anymore because the rooms are already assigned. Well, I did read something just recently, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks, that somebody did get a free upgrade. So apparently it is still possible, but certainly I think they're taking, and I think a lot of resorts or hotels are starting to take away those powers. For example, on airlines and stuff like that, it's all very automated, very specific as to who is going to get an upgrade and why. So they're taking that human element out of it, but also it look, if you're flying in the back of the plane or the front of the plane, the biggest difference is not where you're sitting. The biggest difference is the hot meals, the snacks, and the free booze that you're going to get. So that starts to cut into revenue if you were meant to be sitting in the back of the bus where you have to pay for everything and they offer you free seating up front. That said, at a hotel, if they put you in a big fancy suite, other than maybe having like an upgraded minibar or something, there's really no cost. There's no revenue lost to the hotel other than if they had somebody walk in and say, "Hey, I want to book your biggest, bestest suite." Bestest. But yeah. Yeah, I knew that today was your change day, so I figured you would be getting your feel for the place. And I think now, Did you book preferred club, or are you in the regular section? I know the preferred club used to have their own pool, their own restaurant, which was actually really really good, and of course the preferred club lounge where you can get upgraded drinks and stuff like that. But honestly, it is just such a beautiful, beautiful beach. That beach is one of the most picturesque, really, in the whole Punta Cana area. And obviously, while you're there, you're going to have time to walk by the Hyatt Ziva Zalara Cap Cana as well. I would recommend walking all the way down to Sanctuary. It's not that much farther down the beach from Secrets Cap Cana, and it is um, It's absolutely stunning. It is an all-inclusive resort, so you're not going to be able to necessarily go in and see the pools and stuff like that, but you'll be able to see the castle section, and that's got some swim out suites. It's eye candy, that's for sure. Okay, booked regular, got upgraded. Oh, no, nice, nice. Well, that's perfect. I will say, take a picture of this is one of my pro travel tips. Take a picture of your room number outside of the door. um, the first night that I was there, we were there for a work trip, and it was one of those go 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 go. I think in 3 days we saw all of the properties, all of the Secrets, Dreams, Now, back when they had the Now brand, and the Zoetree product. We saw them all, toured them all over the course of 3 days. So by the end of it, I was a bit exhausted, to say the least. We went out for dinner, had a couple of drinks, and I was ready for bed. And I couldn't remember which building we were in, and they're all fairly similar. Fortunately, my friends were in the room right beside me, so I was texting them at like 10 o'clock at night. Where do I live? Which building is it? So yeah, always take a photo of the room number just outside of the door. Always do that as soon as you arrive. It's a really great, easy way to, especially if you're bouncing around different hotels or you've had a stopover hotel or something. It's a great way to not have to worry about getting your way back to the room again. Um, oh, he snuck over there. Yeah, I mean, the whole beach is gorgeous, but the preferred club area, that section is quite nice. And they do have the like sort of bally beds and stuff, or they did have that. Um, yeah, 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 especially when like we weren't staying at all the properties, but we were visiting them, and it was just, like every time you go to a restaurant and they always ask, "What's your room number?" That's why I always like having a travel buddy when I'm traveling with Tammy, and they ask me like, "Okay, what's your room number?" And I'm deer in the headlights. I'm like, "Well, yesterday I was in 201, but today I'm in something else because I'm on a higher floor, but I don't know what it is." They've had to either Tabby's jumped in and said the room number, or I've had to look on my phone, or they've just had to look it up by name. So yeah. Oh yeah, Angela says he's going to do the same thing. Yeah, you got to go and check it out, right? um, yeah, 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 and remembering the previous room number. Yeah, that's the thing. It's when you start staying at more than one property, it starts to get very confusing. So, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It's the Hyatt, Ziva, and Zilara, they're very different. The Ziva, the family side, which will be the first section that you'll come across, is more like flowing pools and rounded corners, if you will. Whereas you get over to Zilara and it's more, rectangular pools and more blunt edges, which is, it's just a different style. But I love both of those properties for sure. Um, Oh, yeah, nobody tell. Everybody's sworn to secrecy on here. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Walk around with confidence. Walk in like you own it, and they will never question you. But I mean, not that we're encouraging you to do that, because people have paid to be in those sections, and you don't want to detract from that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with going in and having a look at it and getting a sense of whether or not that is something that you would want to either upgrade to on that trip or upgrade to for a future visit. A nice warm drink on another cold and rainy day. This has literally been our worst fall that I can remember. Although Facebook's great because it always comes up with memories, and then occasionally it'll be like, "Oh, look, what's that yellow thing in the sky? It's sunshine," which we haven't seen for 3 weeks. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, so let's talk about this. So should you ask for a room upgrade at check-in, or, whether it's a freebie or a paid upgrade? I've always had pretty good luck with this. I mean, on occasion, the upgrade costs can be, you know, a bit much, but it is definitely worth inquiring. Oh yeah, Breathless. That was the other one we saw when we were there. That's an interesting property. May or not have done something similar while at Secret's Ties over to Breathless. Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny. Good for you. Um, yeah, I think it's always worth asking. I mean, one time we were staying at Secrets Divine in Cancun. And of course, it's a little bit like for me, it's a bit easier because I know all the room categories. So if you were going to inquire about this, I would suggest to do a little research, go onto the hotel website and take a look at the different room categories and just to get an understanding, and take a look at my videos. Probably I've done a video of the room to show you what to expect, um, but it does give you a better idea if you understand the room category name as to whether or not this is a good deal, not a great deal, or a smoking hot deal. When we were at Secrets Divine, we were just booked into a regular room, and this is a high-rise resort in Cancun, and where our room was located, I knew from the numbers and all that stuff, we were on a mid-height floor, and we were sort of halfway along. So we would have sort of a peekaboo view of the ocean from the balcony, and also consequently a peekaboo view of the lagoon in the back, because it's if this is the ocean and this is the lagoon, the building's that way with the rooms facing outwards. And I inquired about in upgrading, and they asked blah 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 blah, and I forget how much we paid. It wasn't cheap, but it was maybe 60 or 70 bucks per night to get into the oceanfront master honeymoon suite or something. And I was like, yeah, we'll take that. And it had this beautiful wraparound balcony. It was sort of on the like directly facing the ocean, with the other balcony was overlooking the Hard Rock Cancun. And just spacious and beautiful, like chaise lounge type chair in there, as well as some other sitting area. I mean, it was perfect. So I would say definitely always ask. They will, generally speaking, though, have your room assigned ahead of time, like Angelo said. With Mexico, you know what it's like, especially if you're coming in on a tour package, like an air and hotel package. You're probably going to come in with the flight, the air, the package probably includes your shuttle, and then once you arrive, then they've got 20 or 30 people to check in, so they're trying to whiz everybody through pretty quickly. So they're going to ask for your ID and all this kind of stuff. To be inquiring about upgrades at that point might almost irritate them, because they've got people standing behind you that are getting impatient, and so that may not be the best time to ask for an upgrade. Rather get checked in, and if you aren't there at a time when you can get it up to your room right away, then maybe go back after the crowds have gone and just say, hey, this is what we booked, but this is a special trip for us. We're just wondering if there's any way that we could upgrade. What would, and I always lead with, how much would that cost? What's our options? And if they can do it for free, they often will. Because like I said, there's no difference to the hotel revenue other than if somebody behind you in line is ready to pay to upgrade. So, you just never know. I have done that. I cannot tell you how many times we've done that, so many times that now when my husband and I arrive at the hotel, well, it's better now because I'm a little bit more, I'll specifically book the category that I want and not be playing around with free upgrades or paid upgrades, because sometimes the cost is exorbitant. But it would get to the point where we would get to the hotel, we would get into the room, I'd walk around, take a look at the view, and my husband would just stand there and he'd look at me and he'd say, so what are we doing? Are we staying in this room, or are we going back down to the front desk? And back then, again, because I was playing the chancy game more often than not, it was a case of going back down to the front desk. Like I said, I've learned not to stress over that stuff anymore, and I just proceed straight to book the oceanfront room because that's what I like. I mean, if you're at a low-rise resort where 90% of the rooms are set back, they're more private, secluded, that kind of thing, then yeah, that don't worry about it. But if I'm staying in a high-rise property in a place like Cancun or another gorgeous looking place, then I definitely want to see that view. Oh, okay. Somebody's coming up here. Hello, Christine. Is that right? 31 more sleeps? Hope you're excited. I did that special just for you. Christine's off to the Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. And you know what? We're actually not going to talk about that at length today like we normally do. But that did come up a lot last week. And, 29. Even better. I must have my notes wrong. That's cool. It must be so nice to have that just around the corner and being able to look forward to that. Especially this time of year. Oh my goodness. It's like I get up every day and it's like, oh, do I rake the leaves, sweep the driveway, get my rain jacket, get my umbrella? It's sad. Sad. Okay, moving on to our next topic is okay, so resolving issues. And these things happen, right? Like you get into a room and these rooms, they need regular maintenance. And I mean, if it's a resort that's booked frequently, it's not uncommon that out of 365 days a year, maybe 360 of them, that room is occupied. So things like the air conditioning, they are going to malfunction from time to time. The safe, that's a huge one. On my last trip, there was one day I must have wasted 2 hours waiting. Well, unfortunately, right at the time when all the resort staff would be going for lunch is when I reported the problem. I got into my room and the safe wouldn't open. I was able to lock it, and then the battery just went, and I couldn't do anything with it, and it was buzzing. So obviously there was something, a loose connection or something. And so then it just took, and then they had to replace the whole door on the safe. I mean, it was like, but it got done. But yeah. Oh, right. Okay, yeah, going to the Hilton. Yes. Yeah, well, that'd be interesting. Like I said, I mean, better weather. So you can't go wrong with that at all. So yeah, if you're having an issue where there's construction and you're finding the construction's too early in the morning, too late in the afternoon, you can't sleep, the problem with the shower, whatever. Ideally, you want to address this with the hotel. And if the person that you're speaking to at the front desk can't resolve the issue, then I would always recommend to escalate it to a manager, the front desk manager or whomever, and just explain what the issue is and explain that you need to get it resolved. They may say to you that they're at full occupancy tonight, but tomorrow they can move you, that kind of thing. But if you go straight to the threat of, look, if you don't fix this, I'm going to go on social media and write a bad review on TripAdvisor or whatever, that's probably not going to win you a lot of favors. Also, the fact that whether or not you've heard this, but with the growing popularity of AI, artificial intelligence, what we're finding is we're starting to see a lot of fake reviews. No, okay. I wasn't sure if I had that as a topic coming up. But yeah, it was. So basically, what's happening is, and before you had the issue with, especially with TripAdvisor, where I would be at a hotel, and the hotel staff would say, "Oh, can you write me a review?" Blah blah blah. And the more positive reviews where you mention my name, I can earn enough points that I can bring my family to the hotel for a dinner. I can have a night to stay there, that kind of thing. And and then also sometimes they would tell me that they've been asked to write bad reviews for the hotel next door because they've noticed that they're losing business to them. So a lot of it was just so fake that it was unbelievable. But now with our artificial intelligence, and it's so smart and it's able to almost have personality to it, that they are finding that they're creating a bunch of fake reviews, and that's becoming a problem. So um, that threat of social media, other than, and I've seen people do this, um, people who have gone in and filmed a room and shown all its deficits, or even where like stuff just gets missed when people are cleaning a room. And so in those scenarios, if you take a video and you publish it, the damage is done. So that's probably a lot more damning than threatening to write a bad review. But here's the thing: do you ever want to stay there again? Do you ever want to stay at that chain again? Because that is probably going to impact your whole experience. I mean, they're not exactly going to welcome you back with open arms if you've thrown them under the bus and posted a whole bunch of stuff that they probably, okay, in the case of a poorly cleaned room, they could have easily resolved that if you had simply brought that to their attention. But it's the whole got to get the clicks, so some people, that's all they're focused on. I don't know, but my advice would be always to escalate it to management, give them the opportunity to rectify the situation. The fact that you've brought it up directly to them, they will take more seriously, and they will be more appreciative of the fact that, because you know what, like nobody ever very rarely do people share good news stories about travels. It's all the negative stuff. Is you're going to tell 5 friends if something bad happened. And case in point, me opening up with the delivery truck driving over my lawn yesterday and doing a 3-point turn. It's just human nature. It's what we're inclined to do. So yeah, escalate it to management, and chances are they'll not only resolve it, but they'll give you something as gratitude for doing that, whether it's an upgrade, a better view, maybe a bottle of wine, or some like chocolate covered strawberries or something like that. They're pretty good at making sure that they show you gratitude for resolving it in a way that isn't detrimental to them. Okay, moving on. Oh, family shaming. So this was an interesting one, where basically the concept of this was talking about families who are flying, so getting on a plane with small children. And this is where they always come up to the announcement, or you get to the gate, and they always say, okay, sometimes they'll do loyalty people first. So if you are a frequent traveler, they'll ask you to board first. If you're physically challenged, those are always number one. They have to be number one out of respect for the dignity of those people. Number 2 is, excuse me, usually loyalty. And then number 3 is usually families traveling with small children, where they will inquire, they will basically say you can board early if you have small children. What the expectation is, though, is that when the plane lands, and they say this every time in the announcements, that when you're exiting the plane, they always say if you need assistance or you're traveling with small children, to wait until others have disembarked before you get up and try to exit. So my question to you is whether or not you think, like, if they see families that are getting up, that they know who's on the plane. It's the same flight attendants from when you get on to when you get off. If you're traveling with small kids, chances are they're going to be interacting with you more frequently than other guests. And if that's the case, then if they see you where you've pre-boarded, and then they see you trying to exit the plane with everybody else, and let's just do the scenario, right? So you got one of the kids has got a bag, and another one's got a bag, and they're talking to mom and daddy this and all this. And they are moving at glacial pace, getting off the plane, so it's delaying everybody else. Should the flight attendants call them out on this? Should they do another announcement and say, um, you know, friendly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, if you are traveling with small children, we do ask that you remain at your seats until the others have boarded. I don't know. It's kind of like we talked about this a few weeks ago, where I think it's was it United? I forget the airline is going to start a process where if you're trying to check in and not check in, but go through and board the plane, and that's not your group, you're trying to board ahead of your group, then they're going to have some like bells that go off or something that basically beeps so that it's like, no, this is not your group, you have to wait. I don't know, let me know what you think. Oh, it's American Airlines. Okay, well, there you go. Hey, Deb, how are you doing? Good to see you here. Oh, okay. So, and you are, oh, so the Lake Chapala area, I don't even know how to say that. Taya, Capan, Jalisco, Mexico. 24 degrees, that's decent. That's obviously Celsius, so that would be probably, I'm going to guess, in the 70s somewhere, 70s Fahrenheit. That sounds lovely. That would be very, very comfortable right now. That would be lovely. So let me know what you guys think. Like, should they make more of an issue of this? Because, I mean, is it just a case of it's delaying you from getting off the plane, or is it more of a safety issue? Because, if the kids are, I don't know. Well, I suppose it's not really a safety issue. It's more just a convenience issue. But let me know what you think. Should they be doing anything on that or not? And if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Really appreciate it. It really helps. Oh, whoa. Okay. Thank you for that. That was wild. Poof. And the numbers just grew exponentially. Thank you. Thank you. That's really nice. Let me know what you think about this. Yeah, thank you. Let me know what you think about this thing with the families. Should they, if they can exit the plane at the same time as everybody else, then should they board at the same time as everybody else? I mean, I guess the whole point is so they can get in and get on the plane. But here's the thing. Usually, I mean, at least for our flights in Canada, these planes, they're on a turnaround. And what that means is the flight attendants and the flight crew, they're not doing a layover. They're not flying into Puerto Vallarta and then spending 2 or 3 nights there and then flying home. They are flying in, cleaning the plane, because the air crew have to do that most of the time, not always, but most of the time. And then they're going to turn around and exit. So, or they're going to turn around, they're going to have another group of people get on and board the plane, and they're going to fly back to Canada. Could be the same for the United States or wherever. If you're flying a certain distance, the crew will time out. But it's interesting to see how many hours an actual, like a flight attendant can work without timing out. Pilots, it's a lot less, but yeah. So yeah, let me know what you think on that one if you haven't already commented. Oops, where did my stuff go? Okay, now, locking out the TSA. So this was talking about whether or not you use a lock on your suitcase. I've seen this a lot of times in more like Caribbean and Latin American countries, where they'll either put like that saran wrap around their bags, or they're going to put they'll put a lock on the zippers so that you can't open it. Well, interesting to know that if you've got a big pen, you can actually just jam it into the zipper and move it this way and open it. So locking it's not doing anything. And let's be clear, security has every right to check your bag, check your belongings, to see if you're bringing in something that you shouldn't be. I mean, how else are they going to stop smuggling, right? Like they're going to X-ray your bag anyways. But if they want to go through it, they will. So I don't know. Do you know anybody who still uses locks on their bags? Um, I would say Angelo would be the one to use it, but then I think no, Angelo's smart enough to know that they can get into it anyway. So, um, but yeah, it's just an interesting one because I do still see people that put locks on their bags, and I just think, why? What's the point of that? Okay, moving on. Do you, oh, okay. Let's see what. That's why I use Delsey luggage that uses secure tack zippers that can't be opened with a ballpoint pen. Okay, there you go. There's always somebody in the crowd who you know is going to have an answer to a question or query like this, and I knew Angela would have an answer. So there you go. So on the flip side, like I said, they do have the right to search your bags, but at the same time, you also want to make sure nobody's tampering with your bags, and if they can. You just don't know. Your bag's not going to be attended at all times. And if you got some nefarious person working at the airport who is trying to smuggle something, plenty of places, I'm sure, where they're not being watched, where they could shove something into your bag. And if they're coordinating with somebody in your destination, I mean, I think the airports run a pretty tight ship for things like that. But, we've all seen like Border Security and other shows like that. So obviously these things do happen. Okay, so you're on a flight and the person sitting beside you on the aisle is asleep. Should you tap them on the shoulder, wake them up, and ask them to move so you can exit? Or do you just sort of straddle them and try to climb over them? 90% of the time, they're going to wake up. And it would be kind of weird for a person, like if I'm asleep and I got a guy who's already stuck his leg over me and I wake up to that, I will be startled, to say the least. I would rather just have them wake me up, honestly. What's Angela's saying? TSA looks can be opened by them. I'm okay with that. It's what leave them with. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, because a lot of times, if your flight's not until later in the afternoon, you're at an all-inclusive resort. Of course, you're just going to leave your bags at the front desk. Again, largely unattended. So yeah. Calling you in a good way, in a positive way. It's all good. Hello, Bojangles. How are you today? Yeah, wake me up. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would just, oh, it'd be awkward, right? Like, I could imagine being the person straddling or the person being straddled. Like, it just, I mean, it's not bad if you're sitting at the front of the bus, if you're in business class or first class, well, first class, you're probably in a pod. If you're in business class, you might just have extra leg room, but even still, almost guaranteed the person in front of you is going to recline their seat, because everybody needs a 3-hour nap in the middle of the day. But yeah, just wake the person up for sure. So we do have a couple of newsy items. If you've got comments on any of these topics, feel free to continue on commenting. But I do have a couple of other news items that have been, well, there's a bunch of stuff going on. So this is a couple of things that happened after last week's show. There was a Royal Caribbean ship was sailing from Spain to Miami. Did you guys hear about this? This rogue wave. Apparently the ship was listing at one point like 20 degrees, which if you've ever watched Below Deck Sailing Yacht, you've seen the wine go flying before. And this is exactly what happened on this ship. There were a few videos, and you can look it up on YouTube, but there's been a few videos published. And basically what happened was There was some wind and some storms in the area, and the winds apparently went from, I guess, not gusts, but winds of like 35 miles per hour to 80 miles per hour, which is, I think, right on the cusp of hurricane level 1. And these are sustained winds, so not counting the gusts. And these basically caused a rogue wave to happen. And with that, the ship's got stabilizers, but it can't predict for these, random waves and stuff like that. And so you'd see gas. They were sitting in like the promenade section, the middle of the boat, the ship, and they're sitting on a four-legged chair, and they're sliding across the hallway. And then there was another little clip that I saw, and it was staff in the restaurant, and they were, they're not only are they trained for this, but they're also used to it because they're on the ship day in, day out, and they were basically holed up in the kitchen area. There was wine spilling everywhere. Any of the dirty glasses that they had brought in, they had to scoop those up into these buckets so those glasses wouldn't go flying. But it was pretty interesting, kind of scary as well. Good point. Okay, so Angela's at Secrets Cap Cana, and if anyone has any questions or has anything that we want him to find out, or Secrets Tides, because he was just there, I have a question for you. So when I was in Cancun, I drove by what used to be the now Emerald. So is sort of like Zoetry, Secrets, Breathless, Dreams. Those are all kind of the same level. And then they had, Hyatt Vivid is in there below that. Now resorts, I think, were somewhat similar level, and then they got Sunscape down below that. And then if you're so inclined, you can go to Spain, and they have Alua resorts, which are all inclusive. They're cheap and cheerful. Cheap, very cheap, but also cheap and cheerful in as much as they might only have one restaurant, and that's a buffet. But if you just want a place to rest your head, a solid property for that. But I would definitely call it in the 2-star, 3-star range. But my question to you is, can you ask your peeps at the UVC, the timeshare folks, what's happening with the now Emerald? And because there was a rumor that it was going to reopen as a Secrets. And when I drove past, I was surprised because it closed down in summer of 2023. And I thought it had a really good design to it, a really good core look. And it looks like they're modifying it big time. Like, we're talking structural changes. So A, I'm curious if it's still within their portfolio, and B, is it going to be a Secrets, or is it going to be, who knows? I guess that would be the only other Secrets in the area, because the only other one in Cancun is Secrets the Vine. So yeah, if you could ask that, I would be grateful. And I guess the other question is, Angela, you did say in the past that you might be willing to come on the show, and I think next Wednesday you are at the hotel before you don't have to leave on Wednesday. So would you be interested in coming on? You don't have to answer now, but would you be interested in coming on and doing a little bit of a walkthrough and showing us the beach and stuff like that? Let me know. You could just PM me. I don't want to put you on the spot, but just a question, just throwing it out there. And if any of you would like to see Angelo show you, no pressure, but can we get, just put us an emoji in the comments if you would like to see, have Angelo show us around, show us the beach, that kind of thing at Secrets Cap Cana next Wednesday. Let me know. Let me know if you're interested. Whoa. Okay, hold on. I can definitely ask for you. We'll be seeing them tomorrow. Some big news that might shock you that I found out for Punta Cana. Opening a Hyatt Vivid. Dreams Punta Cana is going to be redone. Interesting. That makes sense to me because they've got an abundance of Dreams product down there because they converted all of the Now products to Dreams. So that makes sense. So then that will be reverting it down just a smidge because remember, Hyatt Vivid is not at the same, they don't consider it to be the same caliber, the same look. If Zoetree is 5-star, which it arguably is above that, but if Zoetree is 5-star, then Secret Dreams Breathless would be 4-star, and that would put Hyatt Vivid or the Now product at a 3-star. And yeah, I'm just generalizing, but oh, look, see, we're getting comments. We're getting little emojis. Yeah, we're always ready. Yeah. Don't hold back. Come on. Oh, Tammy's got an emoji too. Yeah, and I'm gonna add one if I can. There we go. I got my own emoji going on. We all want to see more. Oops. Okay. Whoa. So that's like a Hyatt inclusive collection trifecta down there. No, it's not because so Sanctuary is still Playa, but separate owners. Hyatt Ziva Zalara is still Playa. So it's Secrets Cap Cana, and then the Margaritaville is going to become Dreams. Interesting. So that'll remain family friendly. Oh, okay. Well, that kind of makes sense. So adding the adult only element. Okay. The biggest one to me is honestly the Hyatt Vivid opening up. It'll be interesting to see how smoothly that goes. But the interesting thing is that they are not building from the ground up, which is what they did with Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. So this is just going to be more of a training and getting those activities up and running. And I've seen lots of photos and videos of the pottery going on at Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. So that looks pretty cool. So a new build, interesting. So that'd be for the Secrets Macau, interesting. Two Hyatt Vivids. I'm sure the second one is. I'll have to ask about the second. Well, maybe they're going to do, well, I don't know where the second one is. Chances are, would they not put it in Puerto Plata? I mean, they don't have really anything up there, so that would make sense. I mean, it's good for them to spread out to these different areas for sure. It's nice to go back to the same place, but it's also, I want to explore new places. So, and I honestly was never, there's a few places that I've over the years already kind of been like, So one of those was San Diego. Never had any interest in going there. And then I ended up having to go for a work trip. And again, this is probably 6 or 7 years ago, but I was blown away. I mean, how beautiful is San Diego? And we were staying, I don't know the name of the area anymore. I can't remember. But right down by the airship. And by where we're staying in the Hyatt, it had a weird name, Hyatt Amsterdam or something like that. And it was a Fairmont. Was it a Fair? No, it was a Hyatt. And it was just such a cool area and very, very beautiful. So that was one place. The other place was Puerto Plata, seeing that from a cruise ship and seeing the quaint little streets. And then there's one street that's just covered in these brightly colored umbrellas, which is, I think there's a place in Europe that has that as well. And it was absolutely stunning, and cobblestone streets and stuff like that. So that made me think, yeah, I would definitely like to go back. And also Mazatlan. never ever had any interest in it, and I think maybe it was explained to me in a way that wasn't quite as colonial, historic, cultural, that kind of thing. But having spent 2 weeks there last year, and then going back again this year for the cruise stop, it was really neat to see. Oh, look, we've got a yes, folks. Excellent. Oh, you do leave Thursday morning. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll message you and let's hook that up. So, we'll have Angelo on. So next week's, unless something comes up, I will put the video out. I'll put the video link out on Sunday. Promise. So you'll know exactly what time we're going to go live on Wednesday. And we will have Angelo on for part of it, walking around and showing us, showing us the resort, especially the beach and the pools, will be quite nice. So yeah. Wow. So that's, holy moly, that's a lot of news. Should have Angela should be doing the show instead of me. So in other news, there was a huge earthquake. I mean, Cuba has been hit by pretty much everything this year. And last week, I think it was Thursday, they had a 6.9 earthquake, which also would have been felt in the nearby countries of Dominican. Oh, Angela, did you feel the earthquake last week? Probably would have been felt that, but also in Jamaica for sure. Yeah, good. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that was also right after the storm, so they probably didn't have any power. I mean, it's just brutal. So yeah. We also got more news about increased border controls through Europe. So the whole point of this European Union, the EU, was not only within the Schengen area, but also for a lot of Europe, that you didn't have all these passport controls and restrictions and stuff like that. But look, France has been hit with terrorist activity repeatedly over the years. And because of that, and also some issues with immigrants and stuff like that, and human smuggling is another one, that they are starting to increase the restrictions. So this is going to be new for the Netherlands, who are joining Germany, France, and Austria. And then there was already restrictions in place for Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Slovenia, and Italy. And then, of course, England is not within the EU. They did not. That was the whole Brexit thing. But England is starting the ETA, or is it the ESTA? I forget. There's so many different versions depending on which country you're going to. But I think it's like $12, and it's good for 2 or 3 years. But yeah. Oh. Yeah. Good. Well, you know what? I think they definitely had some good drinks at Secrets. Maybe that's why I couldn't find my hotel room. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lovely resort. So yeah. So yeah, so if you're traveling to Europe in the next 6 months or so, just know that if you're going between countries, and it's not a full-on border restriction like what we have here between Canada and the US, or Mexico and the US, but we are going to start to see more spot checks and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. And the last thing I wanted to end with today was talking about, and we did touch on this last week as well, but more and more this week, like flipping through Facebook and all my supplier pages, they are all talking about deals for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Travel Tuesday. So if you have not booked your vacation, all of your vacations for next year, then this is definitely something that you're going to want to take a look at. Also, if you need any like phone upgrades, if you need the 16, if you need new earbuds, cameras, whatever, this is the year to do it, folks. especially with travel is kind of leveling off in terms of the desire. Demand, I think more so. Desire is still there, but economically, a lot of people are struggling, and people have gotten that most people have been able to take a trip since the whole COVID thing. So they kind of got that out of their system. So with that leveling off, we're seeing less demand. Less demand means better prices. So get ready for it, because I don't know how good the deals are going to be, but I'm ready for them. I mean, I know Explora Cruise Lines. Tammy was mentioning she saw some deals with them coming up. I've seen Hard Rock Resorts are talking about some potential promotion. Hyatt Inclusive Collections talking about some potential promotions. Um, the airlines, hard to say. But here's the thing, it's just like shopping at Costco. You got to know your prices. So Tammy and I are doing an exploring cruise in January. We're going to see what this like ultra luxury cruise is like. And mostly what I'm intrigued by is it's a smaller ship, and it's going to different, like we're going to Guadeloupe, where they filmed Death in Paradise. We're going to St. Kitts. We're going to Marigot on the island of St. Martin on the French side. We're going to a lot of different spots that a lot of the bigger cruise ships, the typical Caribbean cruises, don't go to. So if it's something that you're interested in, they're I think tomorrow is when Alaska cruise prices come out for, well, sorry, that's for Virgin. But Explorer's got a bunch of cruises and stuff like that. So check their prices, see if it's something you're interested in, but know the prices, because it's also not uncommon for them to jack the prices and then have a deal. Like, who does that? For example, oh, there's that company, they do all-inclusive resorts, and it's like a flip-flop. Can't remember the name of them. But anyways, they always have like a perpetual sale on. So it's like, great, it's 50% off, which makes you pretty excited for a high-end brand, but not when it's always 50% off, because then it's just regular price. So anyways, just my thoughts. Yeah, big savings on Explora, so that's definitely worth checking out. Oh yeah, yeah, and I have an affiliate license with Amazon, so we should be getting a sneak preview of their specials coming up pretty soon. Usually it's about a week before the sale, because we're like sworn to secrecy. But just gives us an idea of what to promote and stuff like that. And I do so much with that, don't I? But anyways, yeah, I think there's going to be some good deals. So stay tuned for that. If you've got any, like I said, if you've got any major purchases, electronics or otherwise, or vacations that you need to purchase, that you want to purchase coming up, that is the weekend to do it. So like I said, Costco concept, know your prices, check them out now, and then be ready for purchasing that weekend. So yeah, if you are new to the channel, if you are new to this video and you haven't already done so, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And we are gonna call that a wrap for today. So remember, next week we're going to be live from Cap Cana. Well, Angelo is, as long as we can get everything electronically worked out. And yeah, super looking forward to I'm looking forward to seeing the beach and all the good stuff about Secrets Cap Cana. And also just having any questions answered. I mean, those two bombshells that Angelo dropped today, wow. And so hopefully we can find out a little bit more as well about the Now Emerald, because that really was a beautiful resort. It did need updating for sure. So I'm excited to hear what's happening, and also like when they might be opening. Are we talking 2025? Who knows? So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a really great week. Remember, Sunday, I promise Sunday, I will post the link to next week's video so that you can see exactly what time we're going to go live. We're shooting for the usual time, 10 a.m. Pacific. But in case there's any variation on that, I will post that on Sunday. So Yeah, have a great day. Have a great day. Have a great weekend and a great week ahead of you. And we will see you next week. Yeah, me too. Me too. Beats looking at Vancouver, that's for sure. And okay, perfect. Okay, so usual time. Okay, so the only thing we have to double check is our internet connections, but otherwise I think we're good to go. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Bye for now.